And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Howdy everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Faza, Join the Fight, Save the World, a game that looks like a 1960s cartoon recruiting poster where aliens are invading Earth and we need to stop them. It is a cooperative game for players to join together to fight the enemy forces. Let's take a look at how it plays. In this game, players are trying to destroy 3 motherships. Each mothership has a die placed on top. The die is mostly so you can tell them apart. There's some slight differences in artwork. And it shows how many hit points they have. You have to hit them that many times. So you have to hit each one 4 times to destroy them. They also have these evil drones going around, but you have some rebel drones. Each player is going to pick a character. So let's say I decide to be yellow. You pick between your 2 different ones. So here I have a rebel or a senator. Each of these comes with a special ability, so maybe I'll pick the senator to play with. And you'll start in the outpost that matches your color, so you'll see yellow there. And you also start with 2 of these rebels with you. And the bad guy's starting to board, and there's drones all over the place. Each player is also going to have 4 cards in front of them in the order here. You'll put them in order 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these are abilities that you can do on your turn. When the game plays, the good guys go first, you and your teammates, and you're just going to take actions in whatever order you want to take them. You can tap a card to do an action for either one. So here, for example, I can move myself or a group of rebels 1 tile, and this I can use in combat to protect everyone on my tile from injuries. Or here I can add a rebel to any outpost, or move myself or a group of rebels up to 2 tiles, skipping over adjacent tiles. So you're going to decide what to do, taking turns doing these. At any point, you can decide to attack on your tile. So let's say the red player decides to attack these guys on his tile. The red player would roll 2 dice, and a 4 or higher is a hit. So one of these would be gone. 1 hits the red player, so 1 to 3 hits you. So the red player would take out one of the rebels. He could fight again by rolling a die. Now he's gotten rid of them. Now, if there are no rebels there and you take hits, so if the yellow player takes hits, then the rebel player will lose card number 1. You turn it over, and this is what it starts at as run or ray gun, but then it turns into hobble and recover, so you can go to an outpost to fix yourself, and you need to do that because if card 4 ever turns over, you're dead and everyone loses. So you can attack as many times as you want on your turn. It's just that you will run out of injuries and or rebels in your spot eventually. So players are going to take turns doing this. Eventually they're going to finish, and then the bad guys go. They'll be dropping in. If they are in the spot where the good guys are, you'll take injuries to motherships. They'll be dropping more of these on the board. And then you're going to follow a bit of a pre-programmed path, and this token will move here for the number of players. So if you're playing a 4-player game, one of the ships is going to move twice. Each ship does different things. The carrier ship moves, drops drones, moves again, drops drones, moves again, drops more drones. The destroyer ship moves, kills all the rebels, and then all players in that get an injury, and then drops 3 drones. So that one attacks. And the former ship, that one moves and flips the tile that it's on, and then you flip the new tile, it moves again and flips another tile that the ship is on. So it's essentially making tiles worse. If all the tiles get flipped over, players lose. If you ever need to put out more drones and you don't have them, you lose. You notice that many of the tiles have a color there. If you are fighting on that color, you get a bonus +1. But once this is flipped, you no longer have that ability. So players are going to be trying to clear all the drones out of a spot, get into a mothership with a rebel, and then you say, I'm going to attack it on your turn, and you give up this rebel. They sacrifice themselves to go in, and it takes a point of damage. However, you then will draw one of these cards. These cards are all over the place. Sometimes they're good. A traitor. You can use this, keep it in the future to do a damage to a mothership, what have you. And then this one, if anyone rolls a 1 after enhancements, the remainder of their player cards are exhausted. There's a lot of negative ones. There's one that completely ends the player's turn. There's one that makes motherships better. Sometimes they're good. Like this one here, you know their weakness, and you can do this later on and spend points to get to kill a drone on your tile. So these cards are extremely random, and you get one every time you fight a mothership. Other things that are going on in the turn, players, every time they kill drones, will keep those drones. They are considered points. You'll use points for your abilities. Like, for example, this rebel can spend 2 points to transform a drone on your tile into a rebel. You can also always spend 2 at any point to add a rebel to any outpost on the board. That's pretty much it. Players are going to go to destroy the 3 motherships, or they will lose if any single person dies, if you run out of drones to put on the board, if all the outposts here have been terraformed, and if there are no rebels on the board. That's only in a hard mode, but just to be clear, this whole game is a hard mode. Component-wise, I'm really in love here. This game does a really good job. I like the artwork, has a 50s cartoon vibe to it. The meeples are great. My only complaint about the artwork is I would argue that they should have made these 3 different ships look different. I mean, you can tell they look slightly different, but I don't know why they just didn't make them colors or something. But they all at a glance look the same, and I'm always trying to remember which ship is which, but you know what? I stopped caring, and I just went by the color of the die that was in them. Wooden pieces, good quality cards. The whole thing is a very, very good production. Now, there's a lot going on. I mean, first of all, I'm going to give this company major props. This is a really well done project. It looks unique. It has a great motif to it. The components are good. It is easy to understand from the rules. The whole thing's laid out really well. This is a professional product from a new company, and I'm really glad to see things like that. It is a cooperative game. This is a very crowded genre. There's cooperative games all over the place. Problematically, cooperative games, there is so many of them, so you have to kind of stand out. This one follows the general rule that most co-op games have. Players do good things, bad stuff happens. Players do good things, bad stuff happens. And this follows even some more of those where bad things spread on the board, tiles get flipped. So, kind of seen that before. But what makes this game unique is the 3 different motherships and their programmable movement, and also the players with their cards, and you can take them in any order. Now, I don't know that I'm a huge fan of that. Any player could go at any point doing different things, and it causes it to be fairly chaotic. It also allows one player to be very alpha and say, you need to do this and this and this, because everybody is around. I don't know, it just felt a little chaotic there. But my biggest problem with the game is the gameplay works to some degree, except it is so random. The initial setup is random. And the initial setup can have players right next to aliens, aliens in your face, aliens attacking you right away, or it can have all the players next to each other and not near the motherships at all, and you have to spend a lot of movement even to get over them. You can just have a really bad setup. I could live with that. What I don't like are those cards. I cannot tell you. They're all over the place. Every time you hit an alien mothership, everyone holds their breath because they don't know if it's going to be a good thing, a bad thing, or devastating. On one turn, we were able to clear things out, and I said, we have enough rebels. We can go in, and 1, 2, 3, that ship is gone. 1, we hit it. We turned over the card. All the players' turns immediately ended. We went right to the bad guy phase. We lost right there on that 1 card. So you might find that fun. I am not so keen on that. Not to mention, this game, when you play a competitive, cooperative game, you need to give the players sometimes a chance that they're going to do well. If you play a 4-player game, you move through all 3 of those ships once, and then one of them twice. And so it's like, move, 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 elbows up, 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 up. And it's like, why did we even bother playing last turn? We just put all this stuff back out. And it's just, it's wearying to constantly be, I'm clearing this out. But that wearying would be better, I think, if it wasn't so lucky. You roll dice. Yeah, you can mitigate them a few times, but you're going to run out of that after a while. And you roll dice, and if you hit well, you do well in this game. If you roll poorly, you do poorly, you take hits, and once you take hits, it starts a downward spiral, and you lose. I'm sure the game is beatable. I haven't yet. But I'm sure that it's beatable. I'm just not sure I would have fun. I haven't had a tremendous amount of fun playing the game so far because I like chucking dice. I like randomness. There is too much. The die rolling, I can bite my lip and I have a good time with it. But those cards are just way all over the place. You get a bunch of good cards, that could conceivably be you winning the game. You get a few bad ones in a row that are just devastatingly horrible, and I don't know. So, great concept. Some people are probably going to enjoy it, but for a game of this length, 45 minutes or so, I don't want it to be this incredibly random. But, hey, it's a start, and again, it's a great production. You might like it. I'm not so keen on it. That's Faza. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time. Dice Tower Judgment, it's just too random for me to enjoy.